He was about to die, but he sealed a deal with an immortal to expand his lifespan. Anime takes place in 1897, where in a typical village Tsugaru Shinuchi were having a fight with a demon. It was a match organized by the villagers where demons get killed by an Oni slayer. Tsugaru Shinuchi was known as a great Oni slayer. Tsugaru Shinuchi managed to kill the demon with ease, and the crowd started to shout that he won again. Crowd started to acknowledge him, and he left the battleground immediately. A person came to him and told him that the thing you just fought is known as Shokara. He goes on and says that there are a lot of monsters beyond the sea and we can find the most entertaining show in the world, and he told Tsugaru Shinuchi that he's no performer at all, but he's a monster himself. He went away into his restroom after hearing this. Next day, he was in the market. Some kids were chasing him, but when he noticed, the kids ran away just by saying he's gonna eat us. He ignored the kids and went to the shop where he bought a drink. While drinking, he started to have some visions where he was getting tortured. But it was normal for him to have visions like these. He keeps going and finds out that some people were having difficulty in getting rid of a furious cat. People shouted at Tsugaru Shinuchi and said that you're an Oni slayer, you should kill this monster, but Tsugaru told them that he can't kill a cat, and he tickled him to calm her down and the cat ran away. But after the next moment, we find Tsugaru Shinuchi is having a battle with a giant cat in the battleground where he fought earlier with Shokara. After defeating the giant cat, he comes out of the battleground and finds that someone is following him. When a stalker comes out, Tsugaru Shinuchi stops her and asks, "Can I help you?" He saw a girl in a maid outfit who was holding the birdcage. Tsugaru Shinuchi tries to have a hand on her birdcage, but the girl stops his hand and decides to have a fight with him. The girl takes out the rifle to get in a fight with Tsugaru Shinuchi. They had a fierce fight with each other. It was difficult for Tsugaru Shinuchi to defeat the girl. The girl managed to land a kick on his face, but somehow Tsugaru Shinuchi stops her and makes her unconscious. After a while, the girl demands forgiveness from him that she attacked him because he tried to get a hand on her birdcage in an arrogant attitude. Tsugaru asked the girl who she is. In reply, she said, "I'm rather fond of you," and started to acknowledge him that he was able to keep up with Shizuku. The girl reaches her birdcage and tells him that, "You've not enough time to live much longer." He gets shocked and asks, "What do you mean?" She tells him that just by taking a look at you I can say that you're a hybrid Oni, means a half human and a half Oni. The blood of an Oni runs through your veins. She says that if you continue winning in battlegrounds you won't be able to live much longer. Because he's about to get consumed by an Oni and will die very soon. She tells him that she's here to strike a deal with Tsugaru. She means to extend his life, but in return Tsugaru has to fulfill her wish. Girl came near him and uncovered the birdcage. Hence revealed the head of the girl who was talking to him. She tells him that she wants Tsugaru to kill her. Instead of getting shocked, he smiled. Girl's head introduces herself as Aya Rindou. She also introduces her maid Shizuku Heisei. Tsugaru asks her, "Are you immortal or something like that?" In reply, she mentioned that indeed she's an immortal, and it's true. For Tsugaru it was hard to believe and gets shocked. "She's a person, not a creature," she said to him. She goes on and says that it's been 947 years since she's 14 years and 3 months old. Tsugaru asks her why she's only relying on her head. She tells him that about 6 months ago, some fool took her body away from her. And now it's kind of impossible for her to get her body back. She tells him that the one who killed her is also an Oni hybrid and also an immortal, is helpless against an Oni. However, all she saw was their boss. He was an elderly man who used a cane, had a hoarse voice, and also he was a foreigner. The only thing who can kill her right now is Oni. And Tsugaru can also kill the immortal. They decided to go somewhere else. While going there, Aya Rindou says that it appears as though you want to die, but you also want to live. She tells him that the more he uses his powers the more Oni consumes him. While knowing why he uses his powers repeatedly. And also he resists dying. Why is that? In reply, he says that he knows one day he'll get consumed by an Oni and go berserk. His original plan was actually to go out in a blaze of glory, likening his life to a joke and wanting to perform to a massive crowd while dispatching monsters along the way. Aya Rindou asked him again, "Will you kill me?" And in return Tsugaru declined to kill her, but he mentioned that Aya will increase his lifespan, but in return he'll help her out in finding his body. Aya Rindou liked the plan, but she tells him that his body is in Europe. As fate would have it, the guy who seems to have decapitated Aya is the same one who took away Tsugaru's humanity. Tsugaru remembers the engraved cane is similar to the person who captured him. He's almost certain of it. Tsugaru promises to let her have the time of her life all the same, as they eventually strike a deal. Tsugaru decided to go to Europe for Aya Rindou body. Tsugaru asked Aya Rindou how exactly she'll extend the life of Tsugaru. In order to complete the deal and expand Tsugaru's lifespan, Aya Rindou said to him that he needs to accept her bodily fluids. Like her tears, nasal mucus, sweat, or perhaps her saliva. Tsugaru decided to consume his saliva to seal the deal. He chooses the saliva, and as he brings the severed head closer to his lips, they seal the deal via having a kiss. Now the time takes place and we're ahead 6 months. The specific location is the Vague de Folly mansion. A gunshot pierces the air, as a vampire called Lord Jean Duchet Godard hunts a deer. He does so easily, and with the carcass slung over his shoulder, he returns to his son, Raoul. After Dracula's death, the pair need to make a good impression and blend in with humanity, hence the kill. The vampire Jean Duchet Godard started to live along with humanity and started to go through with them. They both went to the mansion and started to pierce deer. His son told him to get that silver out of the storage room which they got from the hunter who attacked them. He went to the storage room but was shocked that the chains of the door had been broken. He saw that the silver was covered with their blood and was on the floor. He summoned his second son Claude and his butler Alfred, and told them that they had an intruder. He ran upstairs and went to his wife's room. Godard was shocked to find his wife upstairs sitting in a pool of her own blood, brutally murdered with a silver stake. This is the first murder among human allies, and it could well be that the culprit is someone not happy about the vampire's allegiance. Next day, media's news reporters stood outside of his home. Reporters buzz round Godard in the morning, desperate for news. Godard only really stops for 14-year-old Annie. He told them that he hasn't had a drop of blood for over 20 years. His family do go to church every Sunday and spend their life as humans do live. In order to get to the bottom of this murder, he's about to hire a specific detective who has arrived from the east. And that is, of course, Tsugaru and Aya. Reporters shout that the cage user is coming here. And the next moment, Tsugaru and Aya were traveling towards the vampire Godard place. The pair's infamous tales have traveled far, including several cases around Europe including a golem in Belgium. Godard goes on and says to his sons that even the judge has abandoned them and now their only hope is Tsugaru and Aya and they're better than police. Finally, Tsugaru and Aya reach the Godard place and tell him that he's the cage user who came all the way from Japan. He introduces himself and mentions that he's the mere apprentice. His master is the one who handles all the actual work. Tsugaru savagely dismantles Shizuku, pointing out that it's difficult to tell she's a woman given her flat chest. When she heads off with suitcases upstairs, Tsugaru revealed who Aya really is. Then, Aya introduces herself and gives them permission to ask anything they would like to know. They asked the same question like Tsugaru asked, why is she only relying on her head? She gave them the same answer which she gave to Tsugaru in the past. And the investigation gets started. After understanding the makeup of Godard's family, including Giselle and Alfred, 2 human servants, Godard discusses Hannah herself, including her love for fixing things up. Given vampiric bodies tend to disintegrate faster than humans, they only have a photo of the corpse to go on. Looking at the photo, Aya deduces that it was indeed a stake that killed her. She bled less from the left instead of the right side of her chest, and she also seems to have been sleeping peacefully at the time, given the lack of surprise with her expression. While investigating, they find the empty bottle of holy water with a little bit of blood on it. And as for the silver stake, touching silver is prone to burn and singe vampire skin. If any vampire is burnt in that way, the regenerative powers fail to work and it takes around a week or so to heal entirely. Godard told them only Alfred and Godard had keys to the storage room where the stake was returned to. Aya Rindou figured something out and told him that some certain problems arise while investigating. And these problems are 7 in total. Aya Rindou only revealed 5 problems to Godard and decides to reveal the last 2 later. After the credits, an intriguing scene sees a vampire hunter enter the scene, sporting a crossbow.